This is what 90 pounds of bike and stuff looks like. It's what I originally planned to have on my bike. Even going downhill, it was a bear to handle. This is what 50 pounds of stuff on an e-bike looks like. It's a bear to handle too, but it's a better bear.
Look, one hand.
Less Yogi Bear and more Boo Boo. A lot of the weight on my bike was because we planned to camp some nights as we crossed the country. So we had to have a tent and a liner and the poles and the ground cloth for under the tent. And we both had to have sleeping bags and pads for under and inflatable pillows. And you gotta eat, so we had to have a stove and fuel for the stove. And you need things to cook in, and a way to open cans of food, and a way to cut the food, and something to eat the food on. And you'll need to clean it all afterwards. And you've got to have a way to make coffee, because, well, life without coffee, I just can't imagine what that is. So in short, when you're camping, you have to carry a lot of extra stuff. This time, Carol will be carrying about the same amount, maybe 10 pounds less, on her bike, Pepe. Me, I'm carrying a lot less. This will help us to not only stay together on the road better, but on those days where there are places to camp but no hotels for a lot of miles, we can make it to those hotels, and maybe even be a little faster and more comfortable. I'm carrying 2 panniers on the back of my bike. One of them will have 2 sets of cycling base clothes and a warm puffy jacket. All of these are going to be in waterproof compression bags that minimize space. That bag will also have my toiletries. The other pannier has some cycling gear for if it gets cold or rainy, and clothes to wear off the bike, like a nicer pair of pants and a bathing suit and stuff to sit around in while we're at the hotel. And it's also going to have my iPad. The clothes will also be in compression bags, and the iPad will be in a big Ziploc gallon-size bag. I weighed each of these on my bicycle scale. Each weigh about 7.5 pounds, so the bags should balance well. The cycling shirts look okay off bike too, and I can put on knee warmers and a jacket if it's chilly. Or I can add tights, shower pass socks, a wool neck gaiter, my warmer wool cap, gloves, and the puffy jacket, and even put on the rain jacket over all that for when it's sub-freezing. On the back of the bike, I've got this Arkel tail rider with a good pump and all kinds of spares and patches and stuff. It weighs almost as much as a pannier, though. And on the front is this big acorn bag. It's got a pocket just for spare inner tubes, a pocket for a camera, a lock, multi-tools, tire wrenches, and a big open area with all kinds of space for stuff that I might need to get to quickly. It's even heavier than the tail rider. There's a spare tire and a bear spray zip tied to the front rack, and lots of lights, so I'm very visible. There's no wonder with all of this and the bell that it's heavy too. All in all, it's a lot of weight. Just not as much weight as it would have been with camping gear.
So I'm just starting the packing process, and as you can see, it's a mess. This is going to take a while, and we won't torture you and make you watch the whole thing. I will show you a couple of important things. One is we have an incredibly detailed, comprehensive, granular list that we both use to pack. I mean, it's down to the level of which bag we're going to put what stuff in. Next, we saw online this thing about compression bags. We used them on our last trip. We're going to use them again. If you have compression bags, and these don't have a port and you don't have to use a vacuum or anything with them, but you do have to squeeze the air out, and then you have to use these to seal it up. So these become a very important thing on our journey. We cannot lose those. So I'm going to start the packing. Just trying to get some of the big stuff out of the way, like this bag and my coats. This is my puffy coat. We're not sure if we're going to encounter cold, but we are doing some passes, and there could even be snow. So like Robert, I want to have, a warm outfit. The other thing I'm going to say, when getting ready, I was going through the drawers, and I was afraid I did not have a warm gaiter because I like to keep my neck warm when it's cold. And I actually found this one. I didn't even realize I had it. So the good news is, you find sometimes that you have stuff you don't even know you have. So on to the air squeezing. Ta-da! So that big coat goes down to this, and as soon as I take it out, it puffs right back up. So I think this will be real helpful for us on our trip. was curious about how much everything is going to weigh. As you've heard us talk about, weight is very important on the bikes on our trip. And so this bag, without anything in it, is 2.5 pounds. So when I add stuff to it, it's going to, of course, be more than that. And I have 2 of them. So right off the bat, there's 5 pounds. Then the smaller bag, which is going to go on the front of my bike, on, you know, 2, one on each side of the wheel, they weigh 2.1 pounds. So you're about 5 pounds there. And then I have a front bag that's going to go on a rack, and that weighs a little over 3 pounds. And then I have an 8-pound battery. So if you add all of that up, I've got a fair amount of weight before I even start putting this stuff in bags. Well, I'm done. I got everything into the bags, and I even have a little bit of room left to spare. As I was going through packing, I reconsidered a couple of items and ended up removing them. So the total weight for these bags, my spare battery and the spare tire, is 52 pounds, which is 8 pounds less than what I carried on our test ride. At that time I was carrying 60 pounds of weight, and the bike handled it just fine. So if you add the weight of all of those things together, the spare tire, the spare battery, and these bags, with the weight of the bike, it's 107 pounds. So it's heavy. Makes me happy, to be honest with you, that I have an e-bike to help me get up some of the mountains.
Well, makes me happy that you've got an e-bike to be carrying all of those things, because a lot of that's stuff that I might need.
So right now our bikes are at the local bike shop, Classic Cycles. We're getting them tuned up and ready to go, and then we're trying to get ourselves ready to go at the same time, increasing our bike time in the saddle. And we have less than 2 weeks to go. So the countdown is on, and we're both very excited.